Good day, folks. Thank you so much for joining us again for another session. Today we have with us Maham Saeed. She came to Canada to pursue her higher studies in 2007. Afterwards, went on to pursue a career in risk assurance and cybersecurity. So, with that being said, as a background, let us get started. So, Maham, thank you so much for joining us. And can you get started by telling us a little bit about yourself first?
Thank you for calling me, Sadhbhai. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I came to Canada in 2007. I've studied from Concordia, Montreal. The reason why I went to Montreal because my parents and my dad studied over there. So that's why it made sense for me to go towards Montreal. So I did my university from Concordia. I finished it in 2010, and then I shifted to Toronto after that.
And then you pursued your
My
professional.
professional career, yes.
And which organizations you joined after that?
So when I shifted from Montreal, it took me a while to get into the field that I wanted. So just to give you a little bit background, so I have a CPA, and at the time when I shifted from Montreal to Toronto, the rule was that there was very few CPA offices that could certify you. Everyone could not certify. Like now you have all those training offices. Before it was just the CA firms that could certify you. So it took me a while to get into these firms. So when I shifted from Montreal, I first started with TD Bank on contract, working in their accounting section. Then I joined Riocan for a little bit for real estate, and then I shifted towards PwC.
Okay. And so now you are an FTE or have you moved out into a different space?
So I was working in PwC as a manager for around 6, 7 years, and then because of personal kind of situations and time constraints, I went into contracting.
Okay.
So that's how I did the shift from full time to contracting.
So in terms of a little bit about, because you're a unique situation that
Mm.
you did your bachelor's over here and then you came into the workforce. Uh, Shifting from Montreal to Toronto, what is that like?
It was a big difference in culture and it was a big difference in how things operate. So in Montreal, the biggest issue is the language. So when you go to all these firms, and I've been to all these firms in Montreal as well, there was a big kind of push saying, you need to know the language, and I didn't know the language. So it was very hard for me to move into that workforce. Montreal itself is a smaller market as well. So when you're dealing with clients and you have different kind of people you have to deal with, you need to know the language. So shifting from that market to Toronto, it was a very different vibe because it was a bigger market, it was a bigger financial industry, there was more competition, there was more opportunities as well, but more competition. So that kind of took me a while to get into this fast paced cycle as compared to Montreal, where I worked for actually a very small boutique CA firm for a few months, which was very slow and relaxed. And then you come into this market and it's everything's fast and everyone's moving fast and you need to be on top of your game to kind of get in somewhere. So
Mm,
it was a cultural difference.
absolutely. So uh, right now I know uh, you took a parental leave right now, but before that, what was one day in the life of mom? Like, how would your day start? What would you be doing? How would it end? End at
Yeah.
11 o'clock in the night, start at 7 a.m. in the
There was
morning.
no end.
There is no end.
The beauty of kind of the area that I work in. So I work in cybersecurity risk assurance. So originally I was working in third party risk assurance when I was at full time, and then I shifted to the cybersecurity practice. The beauty of this practice is there's no one day that's similar. And one of the key clients that I work with, they were building up their department. So it was a net new kind of environment with one person, and they were trying to build their whole GRC department and building their cybersecurity as a whole. So it was a very very interesting and learning kind of environment. So to answer the question, like every day was different because every day we were firefighting something else, but the overall mandate was that we need to set up a GRC department related to cybersecurity.
Mm,
So you'd start like I'd start around 7, go for a walk or something, then sit on my desk at 9, and then the day went. It could finish at 5, it could finish at 7, it could go till 11. As a consultant, you really don't have any kind of timelines. So it
yeah.
literally depends on what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and kind of go with that.
And it also kind of falls in with your partner that you're working with, the PwC partner. This is the
Yeah.
one, so they kind of determine how the day goes for you too, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, my partner is generally very nice.
Okay.
So he used to just say, we need to get this thing done, and we've been trained. Like honestly, when you've been in the firm for a long time, like I started as an associate, I left as a manager. So by that time, your brain has been brainwashed to be ready to do what you need to do. Just forget about time and just do it.
No,
So
and
we
I
just
think
kind of used to it.
it's a good point that you raised, because having spend some time in consulting, I think everybody should spend some time in a consulting firm, because it
100%.
helps you build your work ethics to the next level, and you really get to know how work needs to get done. So I totally agree with you on that part.
Yeah. And just to
So
add to that, Sadbhai, besides the fact that it teaches you kind of in terms of work ethics, it teaches you to be ready for the unknown
yeah,
because you just don't know what you're going to get in a day. You might start with one thing. Like there have been days when you start with saying, this is my to do list, and you're done at 11 p.m. and your to do is still not finished because you have done 100 other things that you had to do. So it kind
absolutely.
of teaches you to be learning all the time, which is very
Absolutely.
helpful.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that part. So that was the so my last question before I go into my last question. We touched upon this a little bit earlier. You went on a mat leave. So
Mhm.
how does that work out for you? What are your thoughts being out of the workforce for a little time? I know folks feel that they will be out of the workforce for a certain time. It will make a certain impact on their careers. What do you think how is it evolving for you?
So I wouldn't lie that it does not have any impact on your career. Of course, it does have because people who've been working with you, obviously they're still working, and then after 1 year, I haven't taken a 1 year, but usually like it's from 1 year to 18 months. So obviously those people have been working, so they will get promotions, they will get ahead at that time, and you need to be mentally okay with that. But having said that, I think a big role that comes into your this whole kind of part of life is your networking and your circle. If you have a very supportive circle, if you know that there are people who are rooting for you, you have people who really want you to grow and really see the best of you, you feel more comfortable. So when you're coming back, you know that your circle or your group is there to support you to get into it. So
Mm,
for me, that was a big part when got into the mat leave. I knew that at whatever point I decide to go back, my partner, my team will be welcoming me, and they will make sure that they're rooting for me, which makes a big
perfect.
difference.
No, absolutely. That's good. One last question for you, Maham, and that is that for those who are moving to Canada or getting into the cybersecurity and risk assurance profession, what is one piece of advice that you would like to give them?
So I'll answer that in two pieces, Sadik. People moving to Canada, I think the biggest thing is we need to be mentally ready that there's a lot of competition here. There are people from all around the world. There's immigration that's happening. So it takes a while, and you need to be kind to yourself. That it will take you a little bit of time to get into the workforce, to build that network. Obviously, people who've lived here for a long time, they know people. It's not like Pakistan that it's all like how you know who you know, but obviously, like your friend circle is your support group. So they will give you new opportunities, they will give you better opportunities. So it takes you a little bit of time to get into that circle. So just be kind and be patient with yourself that you've literally left a life and you've started a new one.
Yeah.
So that's the first part. Be open for new opportunities, be open for new ideas because you might not get what you want in the first thing. Even me studying in Canada, I did not get the first thing, the first job that I wanted. But I was crazy networking. Like I was knocking on doors. And this is someone who's been qualified from here, who has a CPA. But because of the competition, it was very hard to get into these CA firms. So you had to change your mindset saying, okay, I need to still pay my bills. How will I still pay my bills, but still kind of focus on where I want? So be
Mhm.
open to that kind of environment. Everything does not work how you want. It just takes time.
Absolutely.
That's the first thing. The other thing about cybersecurity practice, it's a very changing environment. I actually made this transition around 1.5, 2 years ago. So I'm a relatively new person in this field as well because I was before third party assurance. But again, like if you work with people who are smart enough, people who've been in the field for a while, who know what they're doing, and you're ready to learn from them, and you're not making it an issue that, I've been a professional for so many years and now I have to start from ground zero in this particular practice, you'll be fine. But you need to be open to kind of that thought process that I don't know anything. So I have to learn from scratch. And then with time, you start building those experiences, you get those projects, and then you kind of go from there.
Perfect. It's a good way that you said go, go, go. Yeah, that's the most
Uh,
important thing. And I think regardless of anything that you are in, I think it's learning should continue throughout your life,
yeah,
right? Regardless of
yeah.
whatever. But this is
It's the
good.
mindset.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah,
be with an open mindset of networking, of being open to people, being open to new learning opportunities. Canada, you click on something, you have YouTube videos, you have the world of information. It's just how
absolutely.
you use it.
Agreed, agreed. Thank you so much, Mom, for sharing your
No
thoughts
worries,
and your
Sagar.
journeys with us today. And I hope those who are watching, they'll be able to take something away. And if they were
I
to
hope so.
transition into this career, they will be able to take some advice from you, or if they were to reach out to you. So thank you so much for doing this.
And thank you for inviting me, Sagar. This is a really good kind of podcast that you do because it helps a lot of people from different cycles of life coming and learning from each other's experience. So thank you for
Thank you.
hosting this.